Hello guys, how are you all doing? My name is Rob of Rule of 2 Review and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Okay, so this is really crazy, super exciting because finally, I mean freaking finally, we can discuss Solo, a Star Wars story, the brand new Han Solo anthology film in the Star Wars film universe. Holy freaking cow. I mean, this movie, you don't even need the details from me. We all know the story of this movie, all the behind-the-scenes drama, the changing of the directors, the fact that fans aren't super excited. There are lots of rumors and weird reports out there about Lucasfilm and Disney being nervous about the film because of the lack of fan interest. Episode 8, The Last Jedi, of course, very divisive. Some people feel like that might be leading to some of the trepidation on top of the fact that people maybe weren't interested, and the directors changed, and then rumors about Alden Ehrenreich getting an acting coach. I mean, the list goes on and on. At this point, you even know these details. You probably didn't even need me to recap any of that stuff, but I had to a little bit so that we can kind of set the context and set the stage for what's going on here, because last night, yesterday, from the recording of this video, there was a teaser for the teaser that aired during the Super Bowl. A Super Bowl I thought that was going to be so very boring and turned out to be absolutely fantastic and spectacular and a wonderful football game. But football aside, they actually did premiere a trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story. And before the Super Bowl even aired, there were some rumors about, oh, maybe this is when Lucasfilm will finally air the trailer. And then an official release from Lucasfilm came out saying, no, it's going to actually show up Monday morning on Good Morning America, which is ABC, which is also owned by Disney, who also owns Lucasfilm and all of this stuff. But sure enough, that turned out to not be true, and there was an edited down, like 40-second version of the trailer that showed during the Super Bowl. And then this morning, we got the full almost 2-minute long trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story. And so many thoughts, so many emotions, so many feelings, a lot of surprises. And so, yeah, let's just break down my thoughts. So, all the cards on the table, being completely honest with you guys, even myself, as the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet, I was definitely nervous and not super excited for the Han Solo movie. I mean, a lot of us have felt that for a very long time. The idea did not sound exciting. In this new post-George Lucas Disney regime, things have been weird and wonky. I do love episodes 7 and 8, despite their different flaws, but still things have been really weird. And, I mean, Rogue One is a very good movie, I've said that before, but also far from my favorite. I don't really count it in the Star Wars sort of list of my favorite movies, even though it's very good. I don't actually have any problems with the movie. And so they talked about doing a Han Solo movie, and everyone was like, we love Han Solo, but for some reason that's not interesting or exciting. The anthology and spin-off Star Wars movies is a great idea, and because Rogue One was so successful, I am on board with it. And there are many other kinds of stories I do want, such as Obi-Wan. Everyone wants Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's going to happen, so that's going to be great. But for some reason, Han Solo just didn't click with most of the Star Wars audience, and for myself. So there was a lot of weird questions and nerves going into the fact that this movie was even being made on top of the drama. However, now that we've seen the trailer, I mean, I'll tell you guys, and I expected this, okay? I was very upfront. I always expected this, but I'll tell you, it's pretty great. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say. You guys have obviously seen it. You're seeing it kind of play on the corner here behind me. And I have to say, just like surface level, looking at it as a movie trailer, a Star Wars movie trailer, a trailer for a movie that, you know, we never thought we would get until a couple of years ago because it never made sense and seemed like something George Lucas or Lucasfilm would do. Here we go. This movie's happening, and the trailer was definitely impressive. Now, like I just said, I always expected that that would probably be the case. So it's not like I'm so on board with, oh my God, this will absolutely knock it out of the park, because I always was like, okay, they're making a Han Solo movie. I don't care. I don't like Lord and Miller. Okay, Ron Howard's a better choice, but still, I don't care about this movie. But one thing I know is the trailer will come out and just shock us all and be really great and surprising, and it's going to change all of our minds. And so that's kind of what's happened to a degree. I mean, they set up such an incredible aesthetic. Many people have been talking about this, and I agree 100%. The aesthetic, the cinematography, the tone, and the visuals, and just what the film looks like, just the palette being presented to us, is beautiful. Some people have complained about it's more dull, it's more gray, there's no vibrancy, there's no character popping off of the screen. And you know what? That is also true. I will agree with that criticism, and that part is definitely a shame to see. But for myself, because I was so nervous about so many other aspects, having seen what we've seen, I still appreciate the good more than I take away the bad. And then I remind myself when this film is set, we have to think about the time period that the Han Solo movie is set in, between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, when the Empire is continuing to build itself up and we understand what the galactic and political situation is, going from the Republic to the Empire. And this is probably, I mean, I guess this might have to be a little bit closer to the end of Sith, because, I mean, this guy, Alden Ehrenreich Solo, is going to be pretty young. So this might literally be in just a couple of years following the end of Sith, I would have to think. Although, maybe that'll turn out to be wrong. Because, like, think about it. The closer we get to A New Hope, the more Han Solo should be Harrison Ford's Han Solo. They were able to easily sell us Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan because there's a huge difference. Phantom Menace is like, what, 32, 33 years before A New Hope? Yeah, Ewan McGregor makes sense. But if they give us a movie that's 5 years before A New Hope, Alden Ehrenreich is only it's 5 years younger than Harrison Ford in A New Hope. So it just won't really add up timeline-wise. So that's why it has to be set earlier than later, is definitely my thought. And so anyway, all that being said, I just have to stand up for the aesthetic. I think overall, it feels right. It looks amazing and impressive. And I don't know, I kind of wish I could describe it a little bit better, but it just seems perfect. I like the technology they're showing. I think that all looks really fantastic. The music, I will say, with the exception of the Rogue One score within the film, all of the music from the trailers and both episodes 7 and 8 and this now Han Solo trailer has been incredible. I mean, I would say it's the best music since the prequel trilogy era, but it's also been the only music since the prequel trilogy era, because we've only had one trilogy, then we had another trilogy, now we're in another trilogy and era of movies, so there aren't that many John Williams Star Wars themes to pick from, but it's just incredible, man. Oh, and to be fair, I should correct myself, because John Williams isn't actually doing the score for this movie. He's doing whatever theme there is for Han Solo the character, but probably the music we heard in the trailer isn't even Williams. So there is that. But regardless, it's just so good. I mean, I can't even believe how good the music in the trailer is. And when you couple that with the look, it's just awesome. And like I said, the technology, great shots of a Star Destroyer coming out of this lightning cloud and this weird, like, tram thing on a train track that starts to, like, curve itself off to the side. And this weird, like, speeder, kind of like hovering speeder car thing just looks really cool. Yeah, and I mean, I guess I should probably get into the characters here, because that's the last of it, and that's where I'm going to become pretty critical of what's going on here. So, a handful of main characters we knew to expect in this trailer, and they're pretty much all present in some way, shape, or form. And the good I'll say about this is everyone's look and how different they seem is really impressive. Woody Harrelson's character was a lot of fun to see. I just love freaking Woody Harrelson. Seeing him in a Star Wars universe movie is so cool. He has one of the few lines in the trailer, because one of my big complaints about the trailer, by the way, I don't want to sit here and gush because it's not perfect. One of my big complaints is not a lot of dialogue and not a lot of story setup. So that's going to lead into some of the character thing. But again, just the surface level, seeing everyone is great. Woody is great. Oh my gosh, Emilia Clarke as her character Kira, she looks fantastic in the movie, absolutely. We see her in a couple of different looks and outfits. She just looks very Star Wars, looks good to me. Chewbacca is Chewbacca, he's always fantastic. Thandie Newton's character, we see a quick shot of her. She looks great. Everyone looks great. Seeing these other well-known actors and actresses in the Star Wars universe is very impressive to me, and I like it. Now, there's the two big ones. Lando, Donald Glover's Lando, has been the thing that everyone's talking about since. And let's be real, he pulls off the look and that one shot of him giving us like a Lando smile so perfectly. And it's so exciting. I mean, Donald Glover in and of himself is so great. I freaking love that guy. And I think he's great casting for Lando. So his look is great. It seems like they might be nailing Lando. Let's get to the big one. Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. His look, honestly, it's fine to me. He's not the DNA of Harrison Ford, just like Donald Glover isn't the DNA of Billy D. Williams, so you can't expect that stuff, guys. The performance is what's going to matter, but as far as the look, I mean, he looks fine. He doesn't look great, but he looks fine, and I buy all of this stuff. Now, here's the criticism I have when it comes to the characters and the trailer in general. I don't like the lack of context. I don't like that we don't really understand the story. And I don't like that we didn't get any sort of idea of anyone's performance or the portrayal of Alden Ehrenreich or Donald Glover as their well-known, well-established characters. Chewie will be Chewie because it's going to be a guy in a suit with Chewie roar, so you can't really mess up Chewie. But when you have Han Solo and you have Lando Calrissian, these well-known, beloved, incredible Star Wars characters with performances that define who those characters are on screen between Harrison Ford and Billy D. Williams, I'm willing to give a little bit of slack to performances here to just let the movie be what it is and acknowledge the differences in actors, but bro, we got to see something. They've got to be somewhat close to the original performances, and we didn't get a line from Lando Calrissian. We didn't hear him say a single word, so for all we know, as much as I believe in Donald Glover and his look was amazing, for all we know, he might not pull it off. Maybe his look is great, but his performance won't capture Lando. We only get a couple of lines from Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, and they're not that great, honestly. They just don't necessarily sell me that he's going to be pulling off Han Solo. And so that makes me very nervous, obviously, because the movie has to revolve around Han Solo, which brings me to the next and most important criticism I have. This trailer didn't highlight Han Solo. That's a huge problem to me. That is a massive problem to me. It just felt like Star Wars movie in Star Wars land with some people, when it should be Han Solo, who is Star Wars person like #1 for some people, not for me, but a humongous Star Wars personality, one of the most well-known and recognized characters in all of history, and he's barely featured in this trailer. I mean, I get that you want to set up the world and some of the strife happening, the plight, the other characters and actors. Obviously, you want to set that stuff up, but to have this trailer not feel like it was about Han Solo is a mistake. It literally just felt like it's about a Star Wars land. It just felt like Star Wars land. And while that part was incredibly impressive, I care about the character and the story. The characters in the story. I'm very excited for the newcomers. Like I said, Emilia Clarke, Thandi Newton, Woody Harrelson. Cannot wait for them. But also, what is the deal with Han Solo? What is the deal with Lando? What is the deal with Chewie? I'm sure that the story will become a part of the movie, but why did this first trailer not feature the story and feature Han Solo? We get a monologue kind of narrative thing in the beginning, which is cool. Like, I'm glad they gave us some of that. But then he says, like, she's like, oh, do you know, I think I know what you are. And he says, what? That's his one line in that scene. He's like, what is that? And then at the very end, he says, oh, we're all fine. You know, everything's fine. That was close. Which, I didn't even hate that, but that's all they gave us. And so I'm very critical of the fact that they didn't highlight Han Solo in this trailer. I think that's the biggest thing for me, you know. And if I had to break it down to one thing, that's it. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on the Han Solo trailer. You know, my kind of final thought here is when it comes to Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo, I have to say the guy has such an immeasurable amount of pressure on him. And I do feel for him. I mean, and especially in the climate that the Star Wars film universe and the Star Wars fan base is at because of how divisive Episode 8 was, which pains me to see, even though I understand it, because I love Episode 8, but there are some big flaws with the story structure. And so I can understand why some people maybe didn't love it, but the problem is it's become very toxic. It's not a friendly sort of debate and discourse happening. It is toxic as hell. And so I'm really nervous for this movie. Even if the movie's bad, it's like, I don't care if this movie's bad or if Alden Ehrenreich doesn't really pull it off. I just don't want it to turn into a shit show the way it has after Episode 8. I don't want people to turn on each other. I don't want this guy's career to be ruined and his life to be ruined because Star Wars fans are like the worst people ever right now. I mean, again, I understand criticism, you guys, and I agree with a lot of the criticism. I just don't agree with people being like horrible about it. And I'm like, I just hope he does a fine job. I hope the movie is okay, if not amazing, which it could be amazing. I hope it's just okay. And I'm willing to let him do just an okay job. Provided the story and the character arcs are good and interesting, then I'll be fine with this movie. I don't need it to be as good as the best Star Wars movies ever made. I just need it to be what it is. I want it to just get the job done, and I just hope that everything's okay. Let's not expect him to be a DNA clone of Harrison Ford, you guys. No one can do that. He's going to do the best job he can. We know that the studio is behind him, and let's just hope that it all works out. And, you know, in a world where he sucks big time at being Han Solo, who cares? Let's just let it be what it is and not blame him and blame everyone in the world for this movie maybe turning out to not be that great. You know, I think that would be... It's just a movie. If it sucks, it's fine. It's not an episodic movie. It's a spin-off, so who really cares? So anyway, those are my thoughts on the trailer. I'm excited enough, more excited than I expected. I'm nervous about Han Solo, the characters, and kind of what they did there, but I loved the aesthetic and the music and the tone of the movie. I love what they're doing there, so hopefully it all comes together. So please share your thoughts below. What did you think of the trailer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for the movie? Are you not? Did the trailer change your mind one way or another? I do want to hear you discuss kind of how you feel about that. So that'll be it for me today on the Han Solo movie trailer. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.